The hidden well of Bethlehem. Focus scripture. 2 Samuel chapter 23 verses 14 to 17. Isaiah chapter 53 verse 2. Zechariah chapter 13 verse 1. John chapter 4 verse 14. John chapter 7 verses 37 to 38. Before we step into the main message, we must first locate where the water went. Human religion looks strictly at the surface, the height of the tree, the greenness of the leaves, the visible structures of power. But when God prepares a sovereign move of deliverance, he works beneath the surface. This study establishes the prophetic line, how a poured-out drink offering in the wilderness of Adullam became the hidden, underground reservoir that sustained the messianic lineage through centuries of judgment and darkness. Part 1. The Cave and the Coveted Water. 2 Samuel chapter 23 verses 14-15. King David is trapped in the stronghold of the Cave of Adullam. The Philistine army has occupied his hometown of Bethlehem, the very land, soil, and inheritance of his father, Jesse. David is exhausted, surrounded, and stripped of institutional power. In his weakness, he doesn't ask for a sword or a legion of soldiers. He cries out for a specific taste. Oh, that one would give me drink of the water of the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate. Verse 15. Why this specific well? The uncorrupted baseline. This was not merely about physical hydration. This was the water of his youth, the well his father Jesse drank from, the water David used to refresh his father's sheep in the fields. Pre-monarchy purity. It represented the pristine origin of his calling before the crowns, the politics, the military betrayals, and the heavy weight of institutional leadership took over. Part 2. The libation in the dirt. Scripture focus. 2 Samuel chapter 23 verses 16 to 17. Three of David's mightiest warriors hear their king's heart. They break through the enemy lines, draw the water from the well at the gate of Bethlehem, and bring it back to the cave of Adullam. Human logic says, drink the water. You earned it, your men bled for it. But David does something that confounds human calculation. Nevertheless, he would not drink thereof, but poured it out unto the Lord. 2 Samuel chapter 23 verse 16. David treats this water not as a personal commodity, but as a libation, a holy drink offering. He empties the flask and pours the precious water of Bethlehem directly into the dry, dusty dirt of the wilderness. To the left-brain observer, this looks like waste. But in spiritual architecture, David was seeding the soil. By pouring the water of Jesse's house into the earth as an offering to God, that life-giving spring went underground. It was hidden from the eyes of the Philistines, hidden from foreign empires, and preserved in the subterranean deep. Part 3. The underground reservoir of Isaiah chapter 11. Read Isaiah chapter 53 verse 2 and Zechariah chapter 13 verse 1. For 800 years after David poured that water into the earth, the visible kingdom of Israel collapsed. The Babylonian Empire chopped down the royal line. The Roman Empire occupied the land. The temple system became monetized, corrupt, and controlled by human foremen. To the naked eye, the house of Jesse was dead, reduced to a dry, lifeless stump in the dirt. How does a root grow out of bone-dry ground? Isaiah chapter 53 verse 2. It grows because the water David poured out never evaporated, it went into the deep. While the surface tree was being hacked down by judgment, that subterranean water source remained intact beneath the dry soil of Bethlehem. Zechariah foresaw the day when that hidden subterranean reservoir would finally burst back through the surface. In that day there shall be a fountain open to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanness. Zechariah chapter 13 verse 1. Summary. Never mistake a wilderness season for waste. What looks like a poured-out sacrifice to human eyes is often God seeding the subterranean ground for the future. The origin is preserved underground. Surface systems can be hacked down or corrupted, but they can never touch the hidden wellspring that God has sealed in the dirt. From a cup to a river. David poured out a single jar of water in the cave, but when the messianic shoot rises, that subterranean water breaks open as an everlasting, unquenchable fountain. John chapter 4 verse 14. David poured the water of Jesse into the dirt, and it went underground. For 800 years, as kingdoms fell and the tree was chopped down to a bare stump, that water waited in the deep. Today, we are going to look at what happens when that underground water finally bursts through the dry soil, revealing Christ as the wellspring of Jesse.